first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for having me and letting me do this. You are an incredible group of women and ladies. I've had the pleasure of getting to know quite a few of you over the last at least couple, maybe few years already interviewing you here at Global News. So I'm beyond excited today to get to dig in a little bit deeper and actually talk about you as human beings and what you do for the Manitoba Moose Hockey Club. So thank you so much for having me. And the first thing I'm going to do to put you to work is just go one at a time and introduce yourselves and explain a little bit about what you do for the club. And we'll start with you, Jen.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks for doing this. My name's Jen. I'm the Hockey Communications Coordinator for the Manitoba Moose.
And then Annie, let's go in the order that we're in. So Annie, up next.
Sure. Thanks for having us and thanks for being here, Kayla. It's nice to see you. My name is Annie and I'm the marketing manager for the Moose. So that means I do all of our marketing campaigns and advertising.
And Talia?
Yeah, hi, I'm Tal. Thanks for having us again, Kayla. Nice to meet you. I'm Tal and I'm the ticket sales representative with the Manitoba Moose. And I specifically work with community groups and bring them out to Moose games.
And Raquel, you're last but not least.
Yeah, Raquel, I am the community relations coordinator. So I look after the fundraising, in-game initiatives, or community appearances for the team.
Well, I have to admit the title's very impressive, a little long. I don't 100% understand what you do, but I know you do a lot to keep things moving smoothly. So we have some questions here that will help us dig a little bit into what you do and what brought you to this point. And Raquel, we're actually going to start with you and what started it all for you, your career, how you got involved in the sporting world.
Yeah, so like most people, I played sports growing up. I never actually played hockey though, so that was a little bit of a surprise turn when I started my career here, but definitely grew up on sports teams, loved the atmosphere, loved just the energy that comes with being on a team, between teammates, between fans, just the energy at those games are so unique to sporting events. So when I furthered my career, I kind of followed that passion and that enjoyment of the community feel of a team. And that's how I found my way into community relations. And there's not really anything that I can describe quite like the feeling of everyone coming together for a game, whether it's our team, even the opposing team and the fans, like there's something that just unifies everyone. So being able to bring that together and into a career that I get to do day to day, it really is just an enjoyable experience and it makes me really happy. And I'm really fortunate that I can kind of use that passion and use our fans' commitment to our team to raise funds for different community groups and bring a lot of different people together.
Well, I have to say, you guys nail it. I mean, we haven't been able to go to a game in a little while, but being a lifelong Moose fan, you do feel like that's your home when you walk in. You guys just do such an amazing job. You're very inspiring. And speaking of inspiring ladies or role models or influential figures, Jen, we're going to move on to you. Is there somebody specific or a group of ladies, somebody who inspires you in your job or your career?
Yeah, I think it's funny you say that because getting into the industry, it's obviously male dominated and it's not traditionally a space that we may be welcome in. But when I first started, like even if you just look at this group of ladies right here, like there's 4 key departments in a hockey organization that are represented here. So when I got into the industry, I was like, oh, wow, like it's new to me, but there was usually a woman behind the industry that I was looking to get into. So yeah, even just looking at us, like it's so inspiring to see that there's a key woman just running and her passion has found the space enough to be here. So yeah, I think that was inspiring enough for me to keep my passion and be like, hey, this is actually something that we can do. So look at us.
Look at you. That's so nice that it's right there in your own environment that you're able to look around and get that from one another. Tal, for you, is there a specific role model or somebody that really shaped you or supported you or helped you along through your life or your career, Talia?
Yeah, so her name is Jenna Meinecker. she's my sister. And since I could remember, she's always been someone who led by example in so many things. She's inspired me to not only push past my limits and experience what it's like to reach my potential, whether that be as an athlete growing up or student or even as a female in the sports industry now. I take her with great pride, and I just very thankful to have someone like her so close to me.
Oh, that is beautiful. Is it more pressure having somebody that close to you? Do you feel kind of an elevated, oh, I need to perform, I need to be at my best all the time because she's so close?
You know what? We with our friendship, like it's more of a friendship nowadays. I think now that we've gotten older, she is 5 years older than me, so there is nice of a gap that we can be a little bit more like in the friends kind of category than more competitive. But yeah, none to doubt, she's definitely been competitive when we were younger. So I think it kind of made me who I am today.
Sometimes you need that push and that drive, and I'm sure hopefully we'll still be here in 5-10 years talking. We'll be talking to a new group of women who are naming you ladies as the role models, especially if they're wanting to move forward into sports. Your job seems so cool. Like, I've got to see you here in the studio. I've got to see you on your turf at the arena. You seem like you have so much fun. So I want to know the best part of your job, perhaps, or the most enjoyable part. And Annie, let's start with you.
Sure. So I grew up playing hockey and played in university as well. So being at the games is my absolute favorite part of the job. I love all of the work that goes into leading up to the game, promo games if we do community initiatives working with Raquel, but my absolute favorite is the fact that I'm at the game, at every single game, in the press box watching, and just the excitement of having your home team that you're cheering for. And there've been multiple occasions where I think I've gotten a little bit too invested in the games. But we had several games go to overtime last year. I think there were a few different instances where I was told to tone it down, and the press box, we're not supposed to cheer too loud, but I get so excited. And watching the game and now having the team back in Winnipeg after such a long break, and even getting to watch them in ice pucks, just getting to kind of turn off all the hard work that we put on, that we put in going into the game, and getting to just watch it and enjoy it is probably my favorite part.
It never gets old, does it? Even after all these years. Raquel, how about you? The most enjoyable part of the job, is it easy to pick just one?
No, not at all. I would say, like, my answer is kind of two different parts. For one, it's definitely the people that we work with. It makes such a huge difference. Obviously, working with these three women here and really just the whole Moose team, there are days that you're putting in some real hours, and you have to come in on weekends, and it's not necessarily an easy thing, but having people that you genuinely enjoy being around, it's kind of like, oh, I'm just going to hang out with my friends. I have to do my job, but I'm hanging out with my friends too. So it's the world of a difference, and we're really lucky that we have such great team members here who are supportive and creative and really, really talented. So that's definitely part of it. For me, the other probably most enjoyable thing is meeting people who are directly impacted by what we're doing at the game. We work with a lot of really, really great community groups. So whether it's at Salome Mission, when we're doing our community breakfast, we get to meet people who are recipients of our clothing drive, or autism awareness. We get to do some meet and greets with the children of St. Amant, and you hear from people who are directly affected. And it's just a really, really great feeling to know that, yeah, we're involved, but really all the gratitude is to our fans who just year after year are continuously supportive and just continue to show up for us. So getting to kind of make that connection between the work and where all the funds or all the clothing or the food or whatever it is going, it's a really eye-opening moment for me every year.
Oh, this really is such an incredible community, and the Moose fans. I mean, all sports fans in Winnipeg and Manitoba are pretty good, but there's something about the Moose fans. I don't know. It's like a whole community of wonderfulness right there. Talia, how about you? Are you able to nail down one thing that you like best about your job?
Yeah, I think for me, like Raquel mentioned, it's a lot about the people, like who we work with. I know I'm on a sales team with 3 other guys, and they make it so motivating and very fun to wake up every day and head to work, or I guess just working at home right now. But the job itself is very rewarding in selling entertainment. I find the passion and like the excitement of being able to share a memory with someone who'd like to attend a Moose game, and whether or not they're a hockey fan or they're not, it's something that's really exciting to when you're at games and you get to interact with fans. It's like no other environment that you're just so excited and happy to see people around.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned memories. So important. So many people have memories, Moose memories from when they were little kids, as adults now bringing their kiddos. Speaking of memories or highlights and career highlights and memories, Annie, is there something in your career so far up until this point, because obviously you're going to continue to do amazing things in our community, that stands out for you that as of right now you can pinpoint as a career highlight?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you, Kayla, I grew up a Moose fan, living in Winnipeg all my life, and that was my team when we didn't have the Jets. So when I started working for the Moose, my very first season, I started mid-season. So it took a few games to kind of get my footing, and one of our promo games that we had coming up that spring was our Moose Retro game, which is always my favorite. That's when the team wears one of our throwback jerseys. We kind of redo the whole bowl. We feature old players, we play old music, and it's very nostalgic. And for me growing up with the team, it's one of my favorite games every year. So that year I was fortunate enough that it hadn't happened yet from when I started. And that game was actually the very first game that I worked solo. So the person that I was replacing in my role, they kind of said like, you're on your own for this one, good luck, and let me do it myself. So it was very exciting to get to have that be my first game. So I was standing and watching warm up and doing some film for social media, and my mom and dad came to the game because they also were big Moose fans growing up. And my mom came up behind me while I was watching warm up, and she handed me a photo, a printed picture, and it was her and I skating at the old Winnipeg Arena, and I was wearing that same jersey that the team was wearing that night. It was this little tiny version of me in the old Moose jersey. So it was kind of when everything came full circle for me. And I have that photo framed on my desk now. So that's something that'll always stand out for me as a career highlight for sure.
Oh my gosh, Moose memory, a mama memory, and probably the most adorable photo ever. I feel like you're going to make me cry this morning. Hey, when I'm in your office, when it is safe to do so, you have to show me this photo.
I will, for sure.
Oh my gosh, that's so incredible. You guys have a lot of fun. Obviously, you're making memories every day, but I'm going to assume that there are some challenges with your jobs, especially working in an industry that's been pretty male heavy. Jen, are there any challenges or anything that you kind of have really thought about? I don't want to say overcoming, because it does seem like you have a wonderful team there, but something that maybe gave you pause a little bit when you first started in the industry?
Yeah, definitely. I think when you get into the industry, you put so much pressure on yourself. And being one of the only women, say in my department, I'm like, hey, there's a lot of pressure. And I think, yeah, overcoming that was kind of the right word, but you just need to not, and I want to really hit this home, but not put too much pressure on yourself. Like I felt like when I made a mistake, it wasn't just on me. I was like, oh, like, come on, you represent like women in sports, like you got to be better than this. So I feel like that's a huge thing. Yeah, just not putting so much pressure on what you do and being able to lean on your coworkers and the other women who work in your office is really important, because yeah, there's a lot of pressure for us to do well. That's really important.
And it's so easy. I think no matter what industry you're in, you're going to put pressure on yourself, right? We all do it. And it's so easy to sit here and be like, oh, don't be hard on yourself. But you know, when that pressure's on, you're going to do it a little bit. So Jen, is there one thing that you would leave for maybe other women watching this, or even young women who are just picking a career right now, advice you would give them when they are starting out?
Yeah. I think for me, it's more just about hard work. Like that's something nobody can take away from you. And trusting others. Like there's been times where I've gone and asked for help to women in this group, just being like, hey, like, I need some help with this, like it's totally okay to ask for help. And if you work your butt off, then no one can take that away from you.
And Annie, how about you? What advice would you give to somebody who's either thinking of getting into the sporting world or just a young gal who's looking to get into the working world overall?
Sure. I think what Jen said is really great. Hard work is something that nobody can take away from you. It doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how you were raised, what kind of situations you were put in. Working hard is something that is completely your own. Showing up on time, being respectful, being kind. Those are things those aren't skills. Those are just things that you can do. And I would say also to anyone who's interested in getting into sport, I don't think it's a requirement that you played that sport. I think, there's so many women today who just follow along, watching on TV even, and that's totally fine too. Don't be intimidated by the fact that maybe, because sometimes guys can put across the energy that like, if maybe you don't know all the stats or you can't name every player, then maybe you don't belong, but that's absolutely not the case.
Oh, I love that. Tal, how about you? Your advice to any other women out there who may be watching or listening?
Yeah, I totally agree. Same as kind of how Annie mentioned that just because you don't play the sport, there's definitely still a spot on the bench for you. And like for myself, I never played hockey growing up. I played ringette. So it is a little bit of a change, but it does come down to your interest and motivation with that role that you take on. I mean, we're not the ones playing hockey at the end of the day. So we all have our own roles that we take on, and just finding motivation with that. And especially now working in the sports industry, you tend to grow your passion for the sport kind of in a different way. And I think that will kind of build on how diverse our team is, and just kind of how awesome everyone is together.
Oh, you guys are so good. Raquel, your turn. Any advice for any other ladies out there?
Yeah, I think it's just important to kind of be confident in your own abilities and your own skills. And I definitely say that still to this day, learning that myself. But being confident in knowing that you were hired for a reason, or you were brought on for a reason, and you know what you're capable of. Really, the only person that kind of suffers when you're lacking that confidence is yourself. So just know that you know what you're talking about. I think I'm sure the ladies can agree. We've all kind of had those moments where you almost doubt yourself, and whether it's a phrase like, I don't know if that makes sense, or if you know what I mean, kind of thing. Just little things that if you present them strong enough and you keep telling yourself that you know what you're doing, eventually it's going to come to you. And just, yeah, be confident in yourself and trust what you know.
I feel like off camera, I've got 1,000 more questions for all of you. You're each so interesting, like going through your bios, you're each so interesting and just so powerful in your own way. And I just feel like, not like I speak on behalf of Winnipeg, but I've been here for a gazillion years and I feel like I kind of do. Yeah, we are so lucky to have you and have the Moose and have you gals with the Moose. So thank you for everything that you do and for letting us here at Global be a part of it.
Thanks, Kayla.
Yeah, thank you.